Today's episode is about where food comes from and how it gets remembered. Leigh Wilson is the marketing director of Creative Loafing here in Tampa Bay. But before the events, the campaigns, the ticket sales, and the strategy, she was a kid in a small Bayou town in South Louisiana. Cajun family, 10 minutes from the water. A house that hunted, grew, cooked, and gathered. Everything happened in the kitchen. Decisions were made there. Stories were told there. Food wasn't content, it was connection. It was identity. It was survival. Now she helps shape how an entire region talks about food. What gets attention, what gets promoted, what gets covered. That's influence, and that carries weight. In studio today, Chef Michael Collantes is cooking. 1 Michelin star, precision, discipline, standards that don't bend. When a chef at that level plates a dish, there's nowhere to hide. It's not hype, it's earned. And today isn't just conversation, it's the beginning of something. Creative Loafing and Walk and Talk Media are stepping closer together. More storytelling, more collaboration, more light on the people who actually move this industry forward. This one matters. Let's get into it. Chef, welcome back. You were away for a little while.
I was traveling. Yeah, I was traveling for a bit.
Where did you go? What happened? There was some stuff. I know that it's not special news. It's special, but it's not like, top secret. What'd you do?
Yeah, we opened a restaurant, brand new, Sushi Saint number 3. This is going to be Winter Park, Florida, right next to Soseki, so it actually shares an entrance to it, and as well right next to Perla's Pizza, our cocktail vinyl bar.
So congratulations.
Thanks so much.
Number 1, congrats, right? Number 2, I got to get out to Perla's.
You got to get out. I mean, you could hit all 3 of our restaurants.
And, the way Roddy talks about it, too. I mean, got to get out there.
Absolutely.
Right. Stress factor, like 30, opening a new restaurant. How'd it go for the first, what has it been, 2 weeks, 10 days? What is it?
It's been 2 weeks. We have over 80 Google reviews, all 5 stars. 80 in 2 weeks. Absolutely unheard of. This was the easiest transition restaurant I've ever done. Maybe it's also because this is a copy. I wouldn't want to say copy and paste because it does have its own flavor from the last Sushi Saints that we did open. But being something that you've kind of built the formula for rather than starting from fresh, maybe I just need to open up 20 McDonald's or something and call it a day and retire.
Yeah, but it's going to be like elevated McDonald's.
Oh, we'll put caviar on the fish fillet, of course.
Caviar thumbs on the fillets. I'm buzzing. I mean, speaking of caviar, right? Let's talk about what you did today.
Yeah, we brought a little caviar, a little fun to the menu today. Something, and I wanted a little homage to where I've been. The first dish was a vichyssoise cold smoked potato soup. Instead of smoking it, we actually added bonito flakes, so something new to something old. This is one of the first things I learned at Robuchon was to make this cold potato and leek soup. We did this lump crab with green apples, a little bit of lemon, chives, and of course caviar on top.
The crab was extra sexy because you called it a crab tartare.
Right.
Yeah. I think that makes it taste better in and of itself.
Yeah.
And it elevates the
fancy words.
Yeah, fancy words make things better. So that dish you started at Robuchon.
Right. So this dish was something I did at Robuchon. We always had some variation of, a cold soup or something. So a lot of butter, a lot of cream, potatoes and leeks. It's very, very, French inspired. But then we put our own mix to it. I threw that smoked bonito flakes in there to add the, Japanese flair to it. We put some kombu for some more intensity, some sea to it, since it is going to be paired with crab and caviar.
For people who don't work in restaurants or especially you're talking chefs and especially elevated chefs, it wouldn't be proper to take a recipe straight from a place like that and just bring it straight over. You have to kind of make it your own.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a story of evolution, right? I'm not the same chef I was 20 years ago when I was there. I'm not the same chef I was 5 years ago. And so every time you do a cook or every time you're just introducing something from your past, it always should be a reflection, but a look into who you are today.
Get into the salmon. So first of all, let me back up. The dishes today, actually, the dishes in 2026 have been like really next level.
Stunners.
Real stunners.
a lot of the chefs that's been we brought into the studio, it's just been so elevated, but very clean, technical, and obviously delicious.
Yeah. By the way, people, everything that we produce or cook or anything in this studio is eaten. Nothing is wasted, and it's not created just for video and photography. We're eating this stuff, and it has to taste good because we're going to be on this podcast, and I'm staring at these chefs, and I'm staring at the guests, and it has to be like legit. This isn't like you can hide from it. Like, oh yeah, that was really like, oh yeah, Bob, that was awesome. No, nothing like that. This is serious stuff. That salmon dish was so simple, but perfect. Perfect eater, man.
Well, right after I spent time with Sean, I hopped over to Philadelphia, and I was a sous chef for Eric Robert, obviously, amazing French chef from Le Bernardin, 3 Michelin stars, longest running 3 Michelin stars in New York City. Uh, he always says the fish is a star of the dish, and nothing was really too overcomplicated. It was a fish, a sauce, and a little bit of garnish, and that's what we did today with the fish. We cooked it in a way that he actually taught us as chefs to cook, was like a unilateral cook. So it was a slow poach on one side, slowly raising the temperature up. And so you had this somewhat rare salmon on the top while you had some medium rare iridium cook on the bottom. And then that ginger shallots infusion, I didn't even sweat out those vegetables. It was just infused into a reduction of orange juice and miso and butter. And that was it.
Which was fire.
Yeah. Every time I come to the studio, I want to take something that I know, obviously, but I never want to recreate one of my dishes or a signature dish. Even at Soseki, 5 years in, they were celebrating our 5-year anniversary. We've never done a dish over, or we've never said, hey, we're going to reinterpret this. It's always been a new cook every single time. And so it's fun coming here, pushing myself to do something different.
We spoke a little bit today earlier about how important it is for the food industry and media. The food industry and promotion, marketing, they go hand in hand. And if it's done properly, it's a winner. Obviously, what we're doing here is a winner. But I will tell you, Chef, how exciting is it that Walk and Talk and Creative Loafing are starting to do some things together, and I think we're going to take over the world, starting in Tampa.
Well, it's huge. I mean, it's the part that we as chefs and owners don't really pay attention to, right? We can't see I'm sure when we get into the conversation with Leigh, the ROI, what's my ROI on marketing? I was like, did you see your full house yesterday? Did you have that last week? Did you have that last year? I mean, it's one of those things that we just can't quantify. Like, okay, like most chefs, I said it earlier, we think we can't afford marketing, and we can't afford not to. At the end of the day, as owners, as chefs, we have the livelihood of everybody in that building, and it is our responsibility to put butts in seats, period.
Chef, well said. And, with that said, oh, yeah. Leigh Wilson, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
We've been talking about this for a little while, and you're finally here. We met you at an event, I don't know, a handful of months ago, Savor St. Pete.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I think we're getting to be besties or something. I think, we're doing stuff here.
Yeah, there's some magic happening.
There is magic for sure. Let's set this up a little bit. We meet, we talk, we go back and forth. You have some conversations with the higher ups at Creative Loafing. Then we meet. What happened?
And we decided to make this even better and partner up. Because we have so many things going on in the Tampa Bay area that there's some magic going on.
Well, Ray, first of all,
Mm-hmm.
your editor-in-chief, what a cool dude.
He's amazing.
He's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Where do we go? What was the place that we went to?
Oh, Lucky Tigre.
Recommended, by the way. Speaking of,
Highly.
yeah. Speaking of like ramen and noodles and stuff like that in Tampa, you got to go there. Leigh, you're from South Louisiana, small Bayou town, Cajun family. What did food mean to you in your house growing up? Because that's a different kind of place.
Completely.
Right.
Yeah. Food meant community and gathering. Everything revolved around food and coffee. You are, as a Cajun, you are responsible for having coffee on hand at any given point in time. Because at any given point in time, somebody can show up at your front door. Actually, not your front door, your side door, because nobody comes in through the front door. And you have to have coffee for them.
Support for Walk and Talk Media comes from Metro Food Service Solutions, trusted by kitchens that need storage and workflow that actually does the job. Learn more at metro.com.
Everybody drinks coffee. My grandmother, I always talk about my grandmother's kitchen table. Everything happened around that kitchen table. Food, life, decisions, conversations, homework, after school. When I was a debutante, I remember distinctly standing on top of that kitchen table so 6 Southern women could adjust my dress. Everything happened around the kitchen table. My daddy was a self-sufficient farmer. We grew all the vegetables that we ate. And then all the men in the family hunted. Some of the women in the family hunted. My uncle was a bigger farmer. So, we got food from there too. And it just, it's the simple life. You make do with what you got. But you always have food for everyone.
What's the story with chicory?
There's always strong thoughts and feelings about chicory. I actually like chicory in my coffee. I don't mind it. My daddy hates it, so we never had it around the house. But I like it. It's got a little woody feel to it. It's kind of the Cajun people were, for lack of a better word, kind of the poorer class. So they had to make things stretch a little bit more. So by adding chicory to your coffee, you could make it stretch a little bit more.
The extent of what I know about Cajun is Bobby Boucher. All right. I mean, that's really,
Here we go.
that's my introduction to Cajun. What's the difference between Cajun and Creole? Because you're not Creole.
I'm not Creole. No.
What's the difference?
There's actually a big difference. So the Cajun people came down from Canada and Acadian and then settled in Louisiana. They were kind of like kicked out of Canada a bit. And there's differing stories on this too. So don't come for me. The Creole people were more towards the Delta in New Orleans and stuff. Their food was influenced by the multitude of culture that was in there. The French, the Spanish, the Dutch, the islanders that came in there too, like the Haitians that came over. So the Creole dishes are kind of a shmishmai of all of those cultures together. Whereas the Cajun culture, again, it was poor, so their dishes did more with less. You don't see any tomatoes in there. You don't see any cream in there. Our roux is made with oil, not butter. Don't come for me, French chefs. But it's still very flavorful and it's still very well seasoned. We just did more with that. There's not a lot of seafood and a lot of Cajun cooking where there's 2 different types of gumbo. Cajun gumbo is mostly chicken and andouille sausage, whereas like a Creole gumbo has the okra in it. It's got tomatoes, it's got shrimp, it's got oysters, it's got like whatever else you could pull out of the Delta.
But a Cajun will eat that other gumbo, won't they? Or
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, you say gumbo and first of all, we're going to ask who cooked it and where they from and what their last name is. But, based on those answers to those questions, I'll eat it.
I'm going to have to ask you to do me a favor.
Hmm.
I need you to ask. I want you to say that. Who cooked it and where they come from? What's their name? I want to hear I want to turn it on. Let me hear this thing.
So it's really funny. There's actually a lot of us here in the Tampa Bay area. There's a lot of Louisianians here, a lot of South Louisianians here. It's not South. It is South Louisiana. Louisiana is basically, it's very similar to Florida. It's made up of 3 states. There's the north of the state, and their liquor stores close if they have liquor stores. And then there's the south of the state, and that's like, heavy family, heavy community, lots of food. We love to drink. We love to eat. We love to spend time with everybody. We love to have neighborhood parties. And then there's New Orleans, which is basically just a state in and of itself. So anytime I meet anybody in the Tampa Bay area, and you can ask some friends of mine, and they say, "Oh, I'm from Louisiana." I'm like, "Wait, what part? Where are you from? What's your last name? Who your daddy is?" And if you are from South Louisiana, you know exactly how to answer that. and you go into the whole family tree and you're like, oh, well, but who's your family? And I was like, oh, well, our family's gonna we're the Maslings, and then we came from the Tossans and the Edwards. Oh, that Edwards? Yeah, that Edwards. Yep. Because you can't pick family. So at any given point in time, you can always tell where in Louisiana somebody is based on how they answer those questions.
So Mardi Gras came and went. We talked before, and you'd mentioned about some things from home that you miss. One of them is king cake,
Absolutely.
the andouille, and a bunch of other stuff, which, by the way, the andouille is coming. That is coming. The king cake didn't make it. The andouille is en route. It's just FYI.
I'll hold you to that.
You hold me to. I'm looking at your face right here. Okay. You talking about missing king cake so much, you decided to teach yourself how to bake.
Yep. So a couple years ago, this life event happened, and I got real stubborn, which I didn't think could happen. If I could get any more stubborn than I already was, and I decided to start making bread, and just to prove that I could, right? So I got on a website, started teaching myself how to make bread, watching YouTube videos, and then pestering my chef at the restaurant that I worked at the time, bringing in all of these like loaves of just absolute trash bread, right? And going, what am I doing wrong? You have to tell me, because nothing will test your patience more than baking will, or your kids. And so, he helped me troubleshoot a bunch of things. And then I finally started baking bread. I made my first focaccia loaf, which was phenomenal. I learned how to confit garlic, started elevating that. And then I was like, you know what? I can totally make my own king cake instead of spending all this money, like shipping it over from Louisiana. And I did. So I started rolling out the dough and figuring out like what stuffings I liked in it, because some people like their king cake stuffed and filled, and I did it myself. And then I introduced everybody at the restaurant to king cake, and I think we ate about 7 king cakes during that time. And here recently, my daughter at her school, they just had, because she goes to Catholic school, and they just had their Mardi Gras Fat Tuesday, and they got king cakes in there, and guess who got the baby?
Oof.
Yep. So that Mardi Gras party next year is going to be lit.
John, we've asked this question before. Well, what's the big deal with the baby? This is what it is right here. You saw her face when she said it. It's like it's a thing.
Yeah, that was a couple episodes ago with Pooch. That was my first introduction. I had no idea. And we had how many king cakes in?
Like 5.
That was stuff, by the way, but it was amazing to see the variations and stuffings, and everyone takes it extremely personal.
Very. And it was really cool. If you didn't catch that episode, Pooch actually went and picked up these king cakes from a handful of very well-known places. Some of them were, most of them were donated to us because they knew they were going to be, featured on the show. Well, let me tell you something. I love king cake. As it turns out now, I'm into it. Like I never heard of it before either, chef. And now I'm digging it. I'm digging the whole thing. You actually got to feed your kitchen, one of your kitchens, king cake.
Yeah, we took it to a couple of the restaurants, as well as one of my dear friends who, they're at Mardi Gras every single year. And she's like, we got it from a couple famous bakeries. She's like, how do you get this here? I was like, oh, just one of my guys drove 10 hours to get it. And it was, it's the mark. She's like, this starts Mardi Gras for me. It's such a big cultural thing for them.
Pooch is clutch with that kind of stuff, man. Like he's like, hey, you know what? I'm not gonna send this on a plane, man. It's gonna get all messed up. I'm driving it in.
We're gonna have to send them a Cuban from down here. Right. Show our culture.
Are you trying to say I got to drive
send our Cuban out there?
See,
it's not gonna hold as well, but yeah.
No, it's not. But you know what? It's the thought that counts.
Exactly.
Right. Oh my goodness.
And there's so much ritual that goes into it as well. Like the Mardi Gras season in and of itself, it's rooted in faith. It's deeply rooted in faith. So, having the king cake there being celebratory, and then like it's a really great thing that happens in New Orleans at midnight on Fat Tuesday. Everything kind of shuts down and the street sweepers come through and they start cleaning everything up. Everybody continues to party, but they clean everything and it all smells fresh, and because that is the start of Ash Wednesday in the Lenten season. And then, so begins the time of reverence and reflection and asking for forgiveness and stuff. So there's all of this like deeply rooted ritual and practice in your faith that goes along with Mardi Gras.
The episode that Chef was referring back to was very special because we had not just Pooch, bringing the cake. We had Neil Bodenheimer, who sits on the chair at Tales of the Cocktail. And, he's a James Beard bartender, a James Beard restaurateur. And like the guy is the pinnacle of cocktail. So he created this cocktail special for Bayou Bakehouse with Kelly Jacques. She won Food and Wine's Best New Chef for 2025. She was one of the winners. Mr. Chef Collantes over here actually got to prepare the James Beard specially made cocktail for the show. And then, of course, we had author and journalist Mike Haynes cover king cakes. Like, he's a king cake historian.
Mm-hmm.
Cool cat, too. And he really gets into the depth and the detail of where it came from, how long, what it, like all the who, what, where, when, and why and hows and everything. And it was a really great special episode.
Walk and Talk Media is proudly supported by Rack Porcelain USA, creating durable, beautifully designed tableware for chefs and hospitality professionals. Learn more at rackporcelain.com.
Literally, we had, and he was on the show too, like all these people were on the program. So, we had Michelin, we had Beard, we had authors, and we had Pooch with accolade over accolade over accolade. It was a great day.
Mm-hmm.
Great day. You should have been here.
I totally should have been here.
Yeah, you should have been here.
Fill that out.
Leigh, you see a lot of hype in food coverage. What do you think makes a food story feel honest instead of promotional?
Authenticity, more than anything, and the connection to the person that's making the food and where the food comes from and why they've chosen to make that particular type of food or style of food, or why they've chosen to smash two types of food together. I absolutely fall in love with the stories behind food. Food just doesn't feed our bodies, it feeds our souls too. Yeah, you can bring peace to the world over breaking bread together.
Amen. I believe that.
Mm-hmm.
Chef.
Absolutely. We're in our 5th year for Soseki. It was a passion project. And we even now talking through our media marketing groups and what's the story you want to tell? And we got away from, it's always been, hey, promote the restaurant and get butts and seats. And that is important too. But now we're really like, what makes it genuine to come here and experience this? Whether someone's coming in for a $20 pizza or someone's coming in for a $300 tasting menu, what's something genuine that we could share? Like you said, breaking bread with people, that's something so important. I think it's getting lost, lost in this generation for sure, lost in this time.
Is it getting lost because there's a phone lens taking a picture of the food right away? Or is that a good thing? See, I'm on both sides of the fence with this. I look at it like one needs the other. In today's world, one needs the other. And does somebody want to take a picture of it before they take a bite? I don't know. At first, that used to bother me. It doesn't bother me as much anymore because I think social media has kind of gotten into a groove right now, especially with food. For the food, social media has been maturing a lot over the last few years.
It's more than just taking a pretty photo of food and saying, here I am. You're seeing more of again, the story of even diners going to this place and experiencing right when they walk in, and these short videos of, it's just at the access. When I was young, being a chef, going through, there was no access to it. You had to mail a chef or email a chef to try to figure out what they're doing and share notebooks of different chefs. Now these recipes, all of this, it's just at the access to experience from our phone, from across the world, anything we want to experience at any moment.
I think this separates people out though, because as much access as there is, a lot of lazy people, and they don't do it. And it's at the tips of their fingers. Everything is at the tip of your fingers. And yet there might be a surge of Michelin chefs, or there might be a surge of Beard chefs, But guess what? Still not a lot. So people aren't, just taking advantage of what is accessible to them right now. I don't think any of us are. How do you feel about that?
On the whole, food marketing is a necessary thing to do through social media because everybody is so plugged in, everybody is so dialed in. Now, I say that to say this. There is absolutely an oversaturation of overhyped social media backing behind food that may or may not necessarily deserve it, or it may or may not warrant the absolute, oh my God, this is the best meal I've ever had. Well, you've just had 17 other meals that are the best you've ever had. So is this really the best you've ever had, or are you just saying this because you're being paid to say that? So the pay to play marketing is definitely there, and it does help get the word out. But people eat with their eyes. And the quickest way to get to a person's eyes is through their social media.
But I think that the pay to play marketing, as much as it's hitting a wide audience, how much of that is going to resonate to actually convert to people on seats compared to when you see someone you actually generally know, they're not getting paid and they have a smaller network, but man, when they talk about a story, the volume's up.
I can speak to this because we have chefs coming in here every week and we get to experience everything from everybody. And while we do have elevated chefs come through by and large, we have the unrecognized serious chefs that come through as well. And in the end, I mean, 90% of everything that comes through here is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the truth. I had somebody before, a few times, but I had somebody come up to me before online and they said, another one that's really good. They all can't be really good. And I'm like, well, at the end of the day, I'm not bringing losers on the show. And that's the truth. If I don't know you, or I don't know somebody that knows you, or if I don't do the research and see that it's serious, you're not getting on the show. We're not here to highlight subpar. That's not what this is. Now, if it's an industry-specific conversation and that person doesn't have that level of cooking chops, that's okay. There's something else at play. But if we're going to be filming and John's going to be doing photography and we're doing all this stuff, it's because it's serious. So my point is, it can be as good as the last or the best of the best. It's just like if you experience enough of it, it's just all good. And, people haven't figured out the correct way to articulate that feeling of it's another banger. Yeah, it's another freaking banger.
I have a love-hate relationship with foodie level of influencing. People do get influenced by foodie influencers, whether you're paid to do the marketing or not paid to do the marketing, whether it's coming through genuinely or not. But it is up to the restaurant and the chef and the food and the hospitality and that first touch point, whether or not those people keep coming back to you. Because if they go and they see, I saw this new restaurant on Instagram, I want to go check it out, because it looked amazing on social media. And I go and I'm not greeted at the host stand, or worse, they act like I'm a bother. The food is not seasoned or cold or undercooked or overcooked. You overcook my steak, I want to flip tables, right? If it's not there, then yeah, I'm going to pay the bill and then I'm never going to go back again. And there's been so many restaurants that I have personally been influenced to go and experience because it looks amazing. And everybody's told me, oh, it's amazing. It's so good. And I've gone and I'm like, this is massive waste of calories. I haven't even finished entire dishes because it's not worth the calories.
I 100% agree. I mean, at the end of the day, all these influencers, you gotta utilize them to build your business. But at the end of the day, if you don't have the goods to back up the story, to back up what they're doing, it's a one and done kind of thing, right? I always say the biggest compliment I get now are two things. One, especially because I do sushi, well, we're the first sushi place that women want to go to after they have birth. I think that's one of the best compliments for a sushi chef. And number two is when I continually see these influencers who get paid, I know they get paid, I've paid them, and they are dining in your place week after week, taking their wives, taking their friends, no cameras, that means you've really done your job. That means you're consistently offering what they're putting out. And I think that's exciting. That's exciting for us and the team when we get to see these people. Yeah, they are eating at hundreds of places a month or whatever it is, and they continually choose to frequent yours. You're doing something right.
So is that the secret sauce of how food storytelling stays real? It's when somebody that was once paid comes back when they're not being paid.
Support for Walk and Talk Media comes from Crab Island Seafood Dip, creating chef-driven crab dips made with real seafood and bold flavor. Learn more at crabislandseafooddip.com.
I think it just return guests in general, right? Not the celebration thing, not the one and done, not the, hey, you've got the celebrity chef in house. When they're there on a Monday and they're there on a Sunday and they're there for whatever, that's when we've done our part because we're consistent. We generally enjoy them. But I mean, we're building community.
Regulars, if that's what they still. When I was coming up, we call them regulars, right? These people are your backbone. They are the restaurant.
I'll tell you a quick story. Even we drop the ball even now, right? So Seki, we always mark how many times people, it's $300 a person come there. We mark when people come there. We mark when you're return guests. We were giving, it's your anniversary. Here's a special gift. Oh, it's your birthday. And I had dinner with some other business owners. They come frequent us twice a month. And I said, you guys used to do these dog treats for my dogs and then stopped or what have you. And, we're on our fourth visit, and we don't get those things. So what are you doing for just the regular people who constantly, they're the ones that are going to put you, continue to put the lights on at the end of the day. So how are you treating them well?
Leigh, when you think about Tampa Bay right now, what's the one thing that gives you hope about the food scene? And then what's something that you kind of raise an eyebrow to?
The one thing that gives me hope is seeing new restaurants still opening up to this day and still seeing like new ideas and new food and food that's good on the market. I was at a new restaurant last night called Conamore, with happy hour and stuff. And the chef's a good friend of mine. So he let me come in for their brunch tasting. He was messing around with like a new brunch menu that they're going to release in March. And man, if I didn't eat everything that man cooked.
It's Chef Taylor, right?
It's Chef Taylor. That was good. I looked at him and we show love through aggression in my culture. So I like smacked him on the arm and I was like, man, you do this. I'm driving all the way over from St. Pete every single weekend.
Have you met a Cuban woman?
Oh yeah. My best friend. No, she's not. She's Puerto Rican. But yes, I have.
Have you met a Latina woman? That's basically how, same execution. And I literally mean execution.
Oh yeah. No. My girls group, we call ourselves the Fab Seven because there's 7 of us. It is like it's like the United Colors of Benetton, right? So we've got people from Puerto Rico, Mexico, Ecuador, Colombia, Bolivia, Brazil, and then me.
I think you should all get together and do like a potluck dinner.
We do all the time.
Yeah?
Yeah, we do. We actually have standing regular like girl dinners, basically. We did it for Super Bowl, which essentially was just a Bad Bunny concert for us. We do it for Galentine's Day. And this is, I think, our like 2nd or 3rd year doing this for Galentine's Day. And we all get together and we make all sorts of food. And at any given point in time, there's one conversation going on in 4 different languages. So it's just like back home. I think that's what like I feel so at home is because, you got to be able to float between 2 different languages here. But going back to your question about like the restaurants, I love to see the community rally behind local businesses and local restaurants. We got hit by the hurricanes last year. Just absolutely devastated the beach communities. And now you're starting to see those beach communities open back up. And we celebrate every single business that opens back up and every single restaurant. When the Helm opened back up, Heidi's a good friend of mine.
She's awesome.
She's amazing. Man, when the Helm opened back up, I was like, there is a God. Because her food, and every little detail of that restaurant. She did this dinner that I still bug her about to this day to do it again, called the Tides Dinner. And like we're out in the water. It's her husband just cooking probably one of the best meals I've had in my life on a Blackstone on a boat.
With Reed
Yeah.
from
Yeah, with Reed from Calusa.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like driving by the oyster beds and stuff. I was hate texting every single chef that I know. It was like, you have to be here. This is the greatest night of my life. But to see all of these, to see the community rally behind local businesses, it reminds me of home. It does. I think that's why I don't get homesick.
Side note about the helm. After the hurricane hit, Heidi sent me over the video, the time-lapse video. You saw that.
It was scary. Yeah.
So basically, Mike.
I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it got viral.
Yeah. And you saw it rise. And then you start seeing stuff from the bar float off oh my God, it was so creepy.
As a restaurateur, it crushes you. Yeah.
It was PTSD, honestly, because I went through Katrina and Rita back home in Louisiana. And my family is down in South Louisiana and stuff. And I didn't think, because it's been 20 years, you feel like you've been through multiple Cat 5 hurricanes, right? And you didn't think like it would affect you that much. But I remember my daughter's father's house got destroyed, basically. So she was with me. I had their dog. And I was like driving her over to have lunch with him and just bringing pizza and stuff just so that they could visit and everything. And I'm driving through massive piles of debris that are multiple stories tall. There's like National Guards people there directing traffic, trying to do cleanup. And I dropped her off. And I just went down to a parking lot in one of the restaurants that was still open, and I lost it, because it was so reminiscent of post-Katrina that I was like, I can't believe we're doing this again. What are we going to do? But then to see the community come together and rally behind each other, it's what people are for.
Florida is special when it comes to hurricanes. Other places are too, don't get me wrong. Florida, it's a hurricane thing.
Mm-hmm.
And people here, they make jokes. Yeah, we're gonna party, and drink through it or whatever. But at the end of the day, when the crap hits the fan, Floridians back each other and they get stuff fixed and they get things done and they bring it back to life faster than I think anybody else ever can in similar situations. It's a special place.
After the hurricanes, we kept running stories of, every time a new business opened, we would bring that to light and stuff. And then even when the way the community comes together is a beautiful thing, because even when the SNAP benefits were at risk of, people were at risk of losing their SNAP benefits, we kept running stories of all of these local restaurants that were banding together and saying, you know what, we got you. If you're hungry, just come to the restaurant. You can get a meal. You don't have to say anything. We're not going to double check anything. We're not going to make sure that you do. It's just show up and get a meal. So all of these Tampa Bay restaurants, and we wound up running a massive list in Creative Loafing about all of these restaurants that were stepping up to help feed the community.
Back in 2005, when Katrina hit, Florida was hit also. And, we had 4 hurricanes in a month, basically. And I was in Hollywood at the time, Hollywood, Florida. And we didn't have power for probably 3+ weeks. Not quite a month, but almost. It was pretty brutal. We didn't get flooding. There was no gas. There was no electricity. And, you heard stuff at night, that things that were happening that shouldn't have been happening. It was pretty not good. Where I was living was next to the Hard Rock Hotel, not far from there. So you have some really nice areas, and then you have not nice areas, all within a mile or two from each other. Well, the Hard Rock opened up, I would say about 10 days into this thing. They got power first from everybody, but they also put the word out for everyone to come and eat. And let me tell you, one of the coolest things, one of the most amazing feelings is to be fed a hot meal after cold showers, no electricity, no real food. It was serious.
it's not our duty. It's not something that's called to like, hey, you have to. But it is, as chefs, as owners, as people, we're in hospitality. How are you not in the darkest times of people's lives being there, right? How, like you said, being around the dinner table, being around that table during the highs and the lows, and that community. But as much as it's not a necessity, but we are called. I mean, I'm called when my people are down, when my community is down, to do something about it. And the only thing that we can do is cook. So we do it.
Amen, and God bless that. I have to tell you, this part that we're talking about right now was not in my list of discussion points. But I will tell you, this is I might as well throw it out there. Like, organizations like Operation Barbecue Relief, Operation Blessing, even Burn Chef Project, in a lot of ways, all of these things that happen, especially, I mean, listen, this is for everybody. This is humanity. But especially people in the industry, like you're saying, Mike, like if you work in food, you need to feed people when it hits the fan,
When it really matters.
when it really matters
Yeah.
the most.
Yeah.
And anyway, these organizations are terrific. Again, this wasn't part of anything I was going to say today, but I figured, hey, you know what? Go check them out. Operation Barbecue Relief, Operation Blessing, the Bird Chef Project. Go check these organizations out. They do a lot, and they're worthy. They're good, strong organizations. 4 out of 5 hospitality professionals have faced at least one mental health challenge during their career. Stress, burnout, anxiety. These are everyday realities in kitchens, dining rooms, and bars across North America. The Burn Chef Project North America is here to change that. They provide free, anonymous support, direct care, training, and self-care resources designed specifically for chefs, servers, and hospitality staff. From therapy services to educational modules, they're answering the call for help in one of the toughest industries. It can't be done alone. Your financial support makes this possible, ensuring that every hospitality professional has access to the tools they need to thrive. Join the movement in breaking the stigma. Email uscanada@theburnchefproject.com for donation details and mailing information, or learn more about the mission at theburnchefproject.com. Chef Collantes is a 1-star Michelin chef. Leigh, when you watch the level of discipline and standards, what does it make you want to see more of in food media?
I want to see the behind the scenes. I want to see how you got to that point. I want to see why you decided to use that ingredient over this ingredient. I want to understand the discipline behind it. The thing I love most about working with all of these amazing restaurants and chefs and bartenders and everything in Tampa Bay is the understanding where it comes from and why you did it the way that you did it. Why didn't you put parsley on there instead of chives? I'm not a chef. I'm just a cook, so, and I'm a very simple cook too. I want to understand the technique behind it. How did you get the chives so small? How did you get the apples diced so tiny? And how long did it take? Because you make it look so easy. It just looks effortless. Like I could just pick up a knife and be like, oh, I can totally do this myself. No, I can't. I cannot. I have tried and failed many times. So I want to see, and especially when it comes to marketing and stuff, I think like people don't see the behind the scenes of it. Like where did you come from? What's different about the way that you cook that salmon? Because I haven't seen that done.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the mark when you said, the storytelling is what you really want to see now. And behind the cook, this is such a great time to be part of this podcast and what you guys are doing. And I'm glad to be part of it because it really, I get an opportunity to tell the story, and every cook has a story. Everyone has a story. And so much of that is the story behind the food. We just don't have the time to do it. You just see a pretty plate and that's it. And I think you get to really understand the soul of a chef, whether it's from the grandma's kitchen to just great technique and great mentorship. And that's what I really enjoy about food too, is they get a taste of your soul in a way, right? We always say this is an art, but I don't think I'm an artist. I'm a craftsman. I'm showcasing a craft through the storytelling of food, and I agree. I think having authentic marketing and media now goes further, tells more, reaches more people in a deeper connection.
First of all, craftsman, yes. Equally, artist, 100%, because it's the same principles being used. Composition, colors, all of these things, building, like all of it.
See, I say this to my team too. I say, like, there is an artistic form. There's something artistic about what we do, but at the end of the day, you're a craftsman. You still have to produce 100 plates. People still, it's a commerce thing. It's an exchange of money. Comparably to art, you could make a banana stuck on duct tape and sell it for $3 million. I wish I could make a hamburger and sell it for $3 million. I'll tell you that.
Look, if you go to a diner, okay, and I agree with you that 100%. Count me in on that. If you go to a diner, you're not expecting some built out, beautiful, dish. You know it's going to taste good, and it's going to make you feel good, and you're going to eat it and love it. Cool. All right. That's craftsman-y, Okay, cool. When you go to a place and there's a reason for every movement in the creation of that dish and every ingredient and every single flavor profile, and then the timing in the flavor profiles, because, when you take your first bite, it's this, and then it finishes with that. And that's art. That isn't an assembly line scenario.
Right. I think, as they get further into like more fine dining, it's obviously more prevalent in there. But when I think about the true, sushi chef, right? When I really think of a true sushi chef, there is an artistic aspect to it that people see, but it is someone trained to learn how to serve fish, rice, and soy sauce and wasabi for 30 years to perfect it. And that in that sense, it's a craft, like understanding temperature and time and how the knife cuts and all those things, where it looks artistic, but it's really him, that person, really scaling in and finding just the minute details of perfection. But absolutely at a certain level. And sometimes it's just necessity. So, of just cooking.
Look, when I see you and the other chefs come through and you put out these dishes, it looks easy when you're doing it, but I know it's not. And they're gorgeous. And then John, another artist, comes through and captures these images. No, screw you. This is art. I vehemently disagree with you, like from the top to the bottom.
All right, I agree.
And with that said, chef, when you're cooking for camera versus cooking for service, what stays sacred or what changes between those two?
No, that's a great question, because now I'm cooking for camera a lot more. It's exactly the same. It's, for me, as you said earlier in the podcast, everything we do, every person we bring in here, it has to taste good. It has to look good. They have to be at the top of the game. Why bring in someone who's going to fake the funk? And with marketing and media out now and influencers, and it's so easy to fake the funk. It's so easy not to have authenticity. Now, who's telling the real story? And I think that it's a tough place to be. But as we said, I think the marker of a great chef, a great restaurant, a great business is repeat guests, and our regulars, our regs.
Leigh, moments ago, you said there's places that charge a premium and the price just doesn't deliver for what you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
How do you personally decide where your time and your money are going to go?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I am a creature of habit. I love going to the same places and the same routine, and I will get the exact same dishes because I know consistently I love those dishes for years. And I can tell when they change a recipe too, and it makes me mad.
This session of Walk and Talk Media is made possible by Citrus America, delivering fresh Florida citrus and juice solutions to food service professionals nationwide. Learn more at citrusamerica.com.
Yeah, for years, I will go to the same brunch place and I will have the same burrito and with the same sauce on it. And I will order it the same way and I will have the same mimosas and the same Bloody Marias because I drink tequila. I don't drink vodka because everybody should drink tequila. But I keep going to those places because I know I'm not going to be disappointed. So when I find a new place, a lot of it is word of mouth. A lot of it. My best friends love to go out to new restaurants and love to go out to eat. So I hear a lot from them, and like make a couple decisions based on them and what they say. A lot of coworkers, maybe sometimes like somebody will say something that it's like this is amazing. Connected with a lot of chefs, so I feel like they're a pretty good resource to have. So but a lot of it is being influenced with stuff that I see online. And I got to be honest, like there's been so many times where I've been influenced by come with me to check out this new restaurant, this hidden gem in the Tampa Bay area.
I just want to mention something. By the way, you do that voice spectacularly. Right on the money. Okay, you should actually have a million follower Instagram channel. But
Oh, please, God, no.
But you must be like my wife. Like if she does not get a good meal, I mean,
I'm angry.
the day's ruined.
Mm-hmm.
I am scorched earth for
Yeah.
taking her. So like we will have these discussions and say, hey, are we gonna go because we want a date night and a cool vibe, or do we want to eat well? I know you shouldn't say that. Like come to a great because there are places you're just like, I know I'm gonna eat well because it's tried and true. I'm gonna have a great meal, and there's places we're gonna risk the biscuit, and we're gonna see if this place can live up to the hype.
my wife would rather just go out to eat the cocktails.
I am. Yeah, I need to sauce my wife up more, and then
Yeah, she doesn't trust the food anymore. Every time we go somewhere, it's. Look, I get it, and I've said this before, and I stand by this. I would prefer to have that one freaking spectacular built bite and pay for that and walk out and just be happy. I like that, and something new every time.
Mm-hmm.
She ain't like that. She wants a plate of food that hits all her, nostalgia data points or whatever, and and it's good price for the money. Me, I guess I'm stupid because I'm gonna be like, you know what? I'll pay the $300. I'll pay. Feed me something different, and you know what? It's even better when the chef brings it to me. Like that. I want that experience. I'm down for that.
We do. That was actually probably the inspiration behind one of our events, Meet the Chefs. I mean, we are Creative Loafing. We host our own events. We've got Tequila and Tiki Takedown, which used to be Margarita Wars. That's coming up at the end of March. And it's where and these bartenders are so incredibly talented. They come up with like some insane drinks. So one of our events is called Meet the Chefs, and it's right in the middle of the restaurant line, and we have about 14 chefs, and they come out and you can sample something that they're offering on their restaurant month menu. But it's so interesting to pull these chefs out of their kitchen and be like, you have to talk to people now. You have to talk to all the people now.
this isn't easy.
And I tell like some of the chefs that we work with on marketing and stuff, I'm like, look, I'm going to bring you out of the kitchen. I need you. And they're like, no, I want it to be about the restaurant. I want it to be about the food. Hate to break it to you, darling, but it's about your face too. People eat with people they recognize, and so like all of these chefs that we work with, and we work with some incredibly amazing chefs and insanely talented that are doing such incredible things. It's almost like they're very comfortable in their kitchen because like that's their home. So when you bring them out of their kitchen and make them talk to the humans, it's and I have a really good friend of mine who, and I can say this about him because he and I talk about it all the time. I got him to do Meet the Chefs last year because I'm like, look, you are insanely talented. You have gone to Spain multiple times. You've done all of these like trainings under these Spanish chefs that like, and you're doing stuff that nobody is seeing. And I need you to get out of the kitchen. Like, I don't really know. I'm like, he's very, very shy. And I was like, yeah, you really don't have a choice. You know how persistent and annoying I can be.
So is that one advice you give to chefs? Get out of your kitchen.
Get out of your kitchen.
Absolutely.
People are going to go to your place because they also know you. It is not everybody. Everybody is looking now for the total package. I need atmosphere. I need hospitality. I need somebody to remember my name because I've showed up for like the 7th time in a row. I need the server to be attentive. I need the food to be great. I need the total package if you are going to separate me from my money.
There is way too much competition out there for you not to bring the total package for restaurants, right?
let me just tell you something. Okay, that's where Walk and Talk Media lives. That's why the conversation today is about, hey, food and social media, food and media in general, chefs, right?
Mm-hmm.
The power of film and the power of podcasting in today's world is so powerful. And guess what? We're living that. And I can't wait to get things moving with Creative Loafing and all of these events and all the badass stuff that we're going to do together. And you're in on this too, Mikey.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Today was freaking amazing. Food, as always, terrific. Photography, you dirty John, you're awesome. Leigh, how do people find you?
At CL Tampa Bay on Instagram. Go like and follow us.
Chef Mike.
MikeCollantes.com. Check us out at our new location, Sushi St. Winter Park, and I'm going up to New York to open up Sushi St. New York back.
We got the New York restaurant show coming
Absolutely.
up also between the 8th and the 10th at the Javits Center in New York City. Yes, follow us. Be there or, be square, as they say. All right, y'all. Appreciate you for coming out. We are out.